On the UN's Human Development Index, which measures living conditions, healthcare systems, educational attainment, housing, cultural and recreational facilities, and level of public safety. The Heritage Foundation, a self-proclaimed conservative group, ranks America 12th in economic freedom, and the World Economic Forum ranks the U.S. 47th among the world's most competitive economies. And it dropped from first to fifth in information technology. Banter about the U.S. leading in that field. The Organization for Economic and Community Development, OECD, says American students rank behind industrialized and advanced nations when it comes to math, science, and literacy, and ranks the U.S. 10th in the percentage of adults with high school degrees. The gap between the rich and the poor is the widest in the U.S. of any of the industrialized nations.
The top trends of 2023, and here are just some of them. Market meltdown, aging power, dirty cash to digital trash, AI, we own you, climate change, going green, like it or not, the good, the bad, and the ugly about it, office building bust, college crash, anti-war movement, war and hate, anti-immigration, anti-establishment, new political parties, and a homeless solution. If this trend is not reversed, it will not be a happy new year. And many of the positive socioeconomic and geopolitical megatrends will be of little value in a climate of endless war and mass destruction. But as we detail with other top trends, the boundless human potential can reverse the negative trends and accentuate the positives, which will make 2023 a year of enlightenment, joy, peace, and beauty.
0.5% of Americans, I'm not great at math, but I know that's really a small number, own 40% of the country's assets, and 0.1% reaped 43% of the latest round of tax benefits, according to the OECD. The OECD also reports that the United States is now third among the most unequal industrialized societies after Russia and Mexico. I could keep going on, but I'm not going to. America also ranks #1 in prescription drug use, according to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. Our debt level is 200% times the gross domestic product. Those are levels worse than during the Depression. The reason they're keeping the inflation numbers artificially low, if you're comparing this to 1982 inflation, if you use the same index that they used in 1980, inflation would be at 15%. They're keeping it low so they don't have to raise interest rates. And number two, because when inflation goes up, so too does Social Security. So why give the little people of Slavelandia more money? Will artificially keep the inflation rate down. So your real inflation rate's around 15%. And by the way, there's an end game to this. And the way we see it is they're going to start doing away with all the currencies and coming up with new names for them, and they're all going to be digital. They're going to be digital. We're getting rid of them dirty dollars. You don't want to touch that crap, so we're going digital. Now they'll know every penny that you spent, where you spent it, who you gave it, on and on and on. So the politicians, politics, got it? Politics, many ticks, could suck that money out of you. Do you think any of these people, these politicians that are closing down every place, give a damn about the people that are losing their jobs when they don't have to worry about anything? Because they steal our money in the name of taxes, and they get their benefits, they get their money coming in, they have their health care, they got their pensions. So they're going to go digital. So America's not number one, and that's a major trend shaping the world. And so as we look at these trends and we see what's going on, I mention this too, because people, and they say to me, but we look at America as the beacon of democracy. They've done so much, and yes, they have. And as I said, it breaks my heart. They're not a democracy. They're a plutocracy. When I was a kid growing up, you talk about propaganda, and growing up in the Cold War and propaganda, and talking about the Soviet Union, they say, they had an election in the Soviet Union. They have a one-party system. 98% of the people got reelected. Yeah, just like in America. That's the number, folks. 98% get reelected of the incumbents in the general election. It's a plutocracy. You have to be either rich or suck up to special interests to get to the top. And it crosses party lines. Do you know that in one night in 2000, when George Bush was running out against Al Gore, one night George Bush raised $20 million. It's a plutocracy.
We're in an economic crisis, I believe is the worst in modern history, with them inflating, artificially pumping up the economy. What are we, over $30 trillion in debt, $31 trillion in debt. Dollar General, Family Dollar, and Dollar Tree are taking over the U.S. with more new stores than any other retailer. Isn't that great? You ever go in these places? Once upon a time, when I was a young guy, you went into stores that were beautiful. That's America. That's America. You go back to the Roaring 20s, the people dressed, the Great Depression, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, and it started going down. And now it's a slob show.
And the only thing that's keeping people from seeing, again, we talked about inflation rate, what's the facade that's making it look like everything is okay are the equity markets.
Who and what will shape the future? The will and desire of we, the people. The future is in your hands. Don't drop it. Stocks today, they closed down. I'm mentioning this because, again, we warned about this. We said if there was no Santa Claus rally, the year's gonna open up down. It's gonna crash.